All right, Eero, we're on.
Nice to be here.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being on. So you're in New York now. Is that right?
Correct. I'm in the suburbs. I'm in a place called Rye, New York, which is in Westchester County.
Oh, okay. But then, so did you grow up in Finland?
Yeah, yeah. Our family moved here to New York 22 years ago.
Oh, okay, I see. 22 years in New York. So
Yeah.
why did you guys move?
That's a good question. It's actually, I'm trying to be like brief with the answer, but the thing is that we had two kids at that point. Both were born in Finland, and we were like, we felt that the kids were like sort of like an afterthought. There was so much going on. Both of us were pushing, careers and stuff, and
Hmm.
so my wife was offered a job here in New York, and she took it. And I decided to. I was actually, for like, depending on how you count it, but I was a stay-at-home dad for about, again, depending on how you count it, like 6 months to 2 years. And
Okay.
I wrote a PhD, which I finally got finalized about 6 years ago. So it took forever to do that thing. And I did it overseas, so I was a remote student.
Oh, I see.
But the problem that I had was I got my brownie points for being the dad, the stay at home, the at home dad. Plus, I started the company. Plus, I was doing my PhD. Plus, in 2004, we started the North American Sauna Society. So I had my hands full. I still have.
Yeah. Good Lord, man, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, so how's the obviously you like it. You've been here in New York for 22 years, but what's the differences, I guess?
Differences between Finland and, in this case, New York.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to say. Every country is different, but at the
Right.
same time, they're pretty much the same.
Oh, okay.
People are pretty much the same. Um, the being a little biased, I could say that Finland has been chosen to be the happiest country on earth for 3 years in a row, as far as I can tell.
Really?
There is this certain happiness that takes place, but of course, we are living in such weird times right now. It's hard to talk about these things, all the corona stuff and everything else that's going on.
Hmm.
But yeah, I can't really answer the question, and also, I'm in so many different ways so lucky, because for one thing, we actually do have an apartment in Helsinki.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, I see both worlds, like, quite
That's
often
awesome.
when I can travel, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
How often do you get back to Helsinki?
depending on the year, twice, three times
Nice.
a year normally. I was
Cool.
there in January this year, but there's a good chance that I'm not going to go back till next year,
Oh, okay.
because it's no fun to fly right now, as you know.
Oh, yeah. 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 That makes sense. Good point. Man. Well, we were talking before we started recording how, I may be even more finished than you are, which is strange. But we just got this, my mom's birthday was yesterday, and someone got us her like this, I think it's Finnish candy specifically, but it's like a salty licorice type of candy. Have you ever had that?
Like, translate, name is Panther. If you translate it, Panther is
Okay.
in. Yeah, I just bought a 2 kilo bag of those.
Did you?
it,
Oh man.
it's we have a talking about how lucky I am. So we have this main house, and then we have a back cottage. And at the back cottage lives my son and his girlfriend of many years.
Right.
And the lady comes from Massachusetts, and she doesn't have any taste for this stuff.
Yeah.
It's if you're not used to it, it's disgusting.
It well said. Yeah. It's rough putting that thing in your mouth for the first time. It's crazy how salty it is. I was not expecting it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I love it. I love it. I grew up with it, and talking about differences, that's one thing. Is food. I have to
Mm.
say that when I go back, I just, small fish and that candy, chocolate, stuff like that but of course it's the same thing everywhere. When you grew up with that thing, you love it.
Yeah, totally. What you grew up to or with is what you're used to. So
Yeah,
what is kind of like the Finnish cuisine, I guess? What's kind of typical?
it's there's no such a thing really as a Finnish cuisine per se, but there are a lot of dishes that are very Finnish and different pastries that are very Finnish. Rye
Mhm.
bread. We're talking about this dense, very dark rye bread. That's
Right.
very typically Finnish, and again all kinds of fish. Even if you're a hunter, moose. There's
Oh, wow.
yeah, there's a lot of that kind of, and it's mushroom foraging. Foraging is big thing back home. It's huge.
Okay.
So it is like mushrooms are very important. Yeah, and that kind of, so it's that like that near food kind of a thing, which is becoming more popular everywhere. Is that's part of it. But again, I don't feel that I'm probably making many people mad when I say this, but I don't feel that there's a real Finnish. There's a lot of, like, we were part of Sweden for a very long time, like 500 years. So there's a
Uh-huh.
lot of Swedish stuff, Swedish food, and there's also the Russian influence, before the revolution and the world wars and so forth.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, like, I don't know, most people could clearly pinpoint like Italian food or, something like that, but I can't really define what Finnish food is, or there's not even any like Finnish restaurants really around here.
Yeah, no, 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 we don't have. We I think we had one like way back, but
Oh, did you?
yeah, we had one or two, but not at the moment. I'm sure that there's gonna be, hopefully there's gonna be some in the future, but yeah, no, no, not really. It's a, meatballs. People say that those are Swedish. They might as well be, but they're very typical food back home, and
Hmm.
uh, and uh, and so forth. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Well, let's talk about the Sauna Society because that's why we're here.
Yep. 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 Yeah, so North American Sauna Society was established 2004.
Okay.
I guess I already mentioned that, but the reason, we had many reasons to do so. There were three guys who started that. There's a guy who is he's a very prominent person in the North American sauna business, and then there was the other guy who used to work for a Finnish Exporting Association before he actually became a sauna dealer himself, and then there was me. And the first reason was for that we understood that there was like huge influx of Chinese infrared rooms coming in, and
Oh,
yeah, and our understanding of the North American market is that people don't know too much about sauna. Even when it comes to pronunciation, it's like it's not a sauna, it's a sauna. Uh,
yeah. Okay. So you're sticking that it is sauna, not sauna.
Correct, sauna. Sauna.
Okay. That's how I always say it. People think I'm weird.
Yeah, no, it's sauna. It's definitely sauna. So we just wanted to make clear that people understand what a proper authentic sauna is, and we're still working on that mission. And I just got to know people, so that's why I became involved. And it's as a Finnish person, and of course you have to make a clear division between, like, there's thermal therapy and then there's authentic sauna.
Okay.
And we don't have anything against any kind of thermal therapy, steam showers, infrared rooms, you name them. But
Hmm.
we promote the traditional sauna, and we have some support behind us, because the authentic traditional sauna is the thing that people have been doing for thousands and thousands of years. And
Right. Okay.
people were just like Finnish people, they just kept on doing something that everybody else was doing, and all of a sudden it sort of has becoming like, hip again, so to speak. But
Yeah.
anyway, so So to promote the traditional type of sauna bathing is our cause.
Okay. So do you know kind of the history of sauna? Was it strictly a Finnish thing, or was it kind of being done all?
Nomads almost everywhere were
Okay.
sauna, American sweat logs, and I think like the oldest clear signs of sauna bathing have been found from sorry about that
That's all right.
have been found from hold on, there's somewhere in mid-America, the uh, I can't remember now the exact countries, but like it's people were sauna bathing or sweat lodging everywhere back in the day.
Okay.
Nomads, had their tents or whatever you call them, and they had
Right.
heated rocks there and so forth and so forth. But it like the Finnish people, again, they kept going. Everybody else stopped doing it. They felt that it was kind of stupid or something, and we just
I
kept
see.
going. And it's part of the it's part of the happy lifestyle. And also, obviously, why we're doing this is that we have a strong feeling that it could be part of anyone's happy lifestyle. This is
Okay.
not only ourselves.
Nice. Okay. So I see. Okay. So everyone was kind of doing sauna, then it kind of died off, but Finnish people kept doing it. They kept doing
Correct.
the sauna the way it was, but now it's starting to come back, but there's kind of confusion. So cuz like you said with like yeah, you hear infrared saunas and stuff around here, but like that's not really, you got nothing against it, I guess, but you don't want it to be confused with like a
Yeah, we don't,
traditional
we
sauna.
don't, yeah, we don't promote that, but it's okay. But how we feel or how I feel is that, and of course it's easy for me to say because I'm sauna baby my whole life.
Yeah.
Like if you think that the ultimate sauna is this little building by the water, and then there's jetty, and there's the wood crackle, and you sauna bathe and yeah, you enjoy your life, and birds are singing, and you know it's a beautiful night and whatever.
Sounds great. Yeah.
But yeah, but then you like start scrolling back, and we just want to make sure that people understand when they are compromising, because coming from the ultimate experience and downsizing to something, so that people clearly understand that, okay, so you have this now. So if you go and buy a $1,000 infrared room from somewhere and put it next to your bed in your bedroom,
Yeah.
you're compromising, and we want
Right.
to make sure that people understand that there are different choices that you can make.
Okay. No, I see. That makes sense. So can you explain kind of what you guys like as a sauna?
What we like as a
Yes.
the well, let's put it this way. I don't own a sauna right now, so I
Mhm.
actually sold my share to my parents' estate. So we had a place in the Finnish archipelago. So I don't have one, and I don't have one here yet in Brai. I'm sure that I will have one at some point. But what I do have here is a steam shower, which I also like. There's nothing
Okay.
wrong. But what I do is, how do I sauna bathe myself? Because
Yeah.
I love it. The sometimes hasn't happened now for quite some time because of COVID-19, but I could go into the city, one of the Russian banyas, because the Russian banya experience is pretty close to the Finnish sauna experience. So they have
Okay.
ethnic Russian banyas both in Manhattan and in Brooklyn. I could do that. But also what I do, what I like even more, is a good friend of mine, very American, doesn't have any ethnic background to Finland or anything like that. He lives in Stamford. Again, I'm sorry, I'm getting texts constantly.
That's
Uh,
all right.
so he lives in Stamford, Connecticut, which is about, depending on the traffic, about 20 minutes from here. And
Right.
he has a real sauna in his backyard.
Nice.
So I get together. There's almost like an open invitation, and it's open for all. So it's not only for men, but for some odd reason there are not too many women who want to join us for a good evening of sauna. But so we get together depending on the month, depending on how busy we are. We get together like every 2 or 3 weeks, and we spend an evening together. We sauna bathe. We might have some adult beverages maybe,
Nice.
and I might even, depending on the month, I might even smoke a cigar. So I sauna is very good for you, but the way I do it sometimes is not the best for me. But anyway, so that's what I do. So it's a very social thing, and then we have some, we have a fire pit, and we roast some sausages. That's by the way a Finnish thing to do. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
yeah, we have those metal sticks that you have, and you put the sausage on, and then you roast it on open fire.
Right.
So that's the way I do it. So it's under these circumstances that I have, but that's sort of me, the ultimate. It's an evening of, we do maybe 3-4 rounds of sauna. And,
Wow.
yeah, and we should talk about that too, by the way. The sauna bathing experience at its best. But we do maybe 3-4 rounds of sauna, and then we eat something, and then we go home happy.
Man, that sounds great. So I love that. So you make it's kind of like a social experience, I guess, and it's hanging out and stuff like that. So is that kind of generally what it is, or is it that, but it's also kind of like a solo kind of relaxation experience too?
Yeah, it can be all those things. It can be
Okay.
all those things, and it's if uh, I shouldn't say if, but I should say when I have my own sauna here, I probably would do that with my wife, and
Hmm.
she doesn't want. I'm going to do it alone, and so it can be many things depending on where you are, but that social aspect is also very important.
Yeah.
And what I was about to say, yeah, the one thing that is people talk about very often in this country, and it's been kind of misleading, this question about being naked.
Right. Yes.
That's not essential. So it's
Okay.
like you do what you're comfortable with. So like with these dudes, most of them are not from Finland, so we do wear our bathing suit, our trunks. We do have so it's that's not it's not an issue at all, because
Right. Okay.
first question many Americans ask, like, so then you're stark naked and stuff, and it's like, not necessarily.
Yeah. Right.
It's about the sauna bathing experience.
Okay. No, that's good to hear because I feel yeah, a lot of people I think freak out about that and find it weird. So I'm glad you're not hardcore. You got to be naked in there.
That I'm not hardcore. I'm only hardcore about the fact that when we talk about this sauna bathing thing, when some people have the illusion that it's the pre-exercise warming up in your exercise gear in the sauna, that's bad. It's not good for you. It's not good for your muscles, and it's definitely not good for the sauna, because it's like it's whatever dirt you have on your clothes and stuff, shouldn't be spread around inside a hot room.
Right. Okay.
So it's if you're wearing something, it better be a towel or your swimming trunks or your bathing suit, whatever, but nothing more.
I see. Okay. Something that's clean. So what is kind of the process or the ideal experience for a sauna?
Yeah, it's a process, and it consists of three different things. One is obviously the heat. The second one is the cold, and the third one is the relaxation.
Okay.
So it's a process where you take rounds. So you first, maybe how I do it, when I go to my buddy's place, I obviously change my put my swim trunks on. I take a shower. I go to the hot room and sauna bathe, and it's again, it's easy for me to say, but my body tells me what it wants. So I might, depending on how hot the sauna is, I might be staying in for maybe 10 to 20 minutes, something like
Okay.
that on the first round. Then I take a shower immediately after. Then I go sit down next to the fire pit.
Okay.
And there I take it easy. And depending on the discussion I'm having or the lack of,
Mm-hmm.
it might take me, I don't know, again, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Just take it easy and relax. And then I repeat.
So real quick, when you're taking the shower, is it a cold shower you're taking, or is it warm?
No, it's a cold shower. I'm a sissy, so I'm not like taking this super cold. But we do. I forgot. Yeah, we do have this Japanese bathtub thingy. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, we do have that. So there's during the winter months, because it's, as you know, it's cold here
Mm-hmm.
in winter. So we do have that Japanese tub. It's heated up, so you can
Okay.
also like relax in there. But well, it's not hot, but it's not super cold either. It's
I
just a
see.
shower. But many people though prefer a cold plunge. So that's also something that some people. So it's and of course that comes from from the history. So we were talking about that perfect picture perfect postcard perfect sauna, which is
Yeah.
next to a lake or the sea or the ocean. Depending on the time of the year, that water can be super cold.
Yeah.
And the combination makes you feel like $1,000,000.
Really? Okay.
It's a hot and cold combination that makes you feel it. And it's a lazy man's exercise if you don't want to exercise, because
Okay.
it's a cardiovascular exercise. So you do get, once you are on your second or third round, you will get that runner's high, the exact same feeling you get from running. I don't know how many miles you run, but you after your exercise, you take a shower and you feel fantastic. You get exact the same feeling from sauna bathing.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, I've never really had a chance to try that. I really want to experience that. Um, so like how does it have to be really cold to kind of get that, or is
It doesn't have to be. It's like better if it's colder. It's better.
okay.
And some people don't like sauna bathing during the summer months too much, because it's everywhere. It's so hot everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's not only basically like here in New York area, it's the shower, but it's also the air is cold. So
Right.
it's the hot and cold, and it's the relaxation, and that relaxation is almost, or these are equally important factors. So it's
Hmm.
like you need all three of those you need for that sauna bathing experience.
Okay.
And that's how we come back to the compromise part. So if and when you buy that sauna, you have to understand at some point you have to make compromises if you don't get that process going, that traditional sauna bathing experience going. At least that's our take on things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people just think of a sauna as just sitting in there, but there's the three steps, like you said. So you need to kind of have at least a shower to go to.
We've had a lot of discussion about this, because there's been some medical research as of late telling that sauna bathing is actually it's provenly good for you.
Hmm.
And now one of these doctors who made the research came out with a fact that said that was it 20 minutes per one time, 4 times a week for 20 minutes, and you will get these health benefits. Reduce risk of a stroke, a heart attack, and so forth and so forth.
Hmm.
And what we saw happening was that we saw that people started sauna bathing for 20 minutes. So it's
Right.
and it's like it defeats the purpose totally, because you do it because you're supposed to feel good.
Yes.
Everything. It's self-indulgent. That's what it is. Not
Right.
sitting and sweating in a hot room for 20 minutes sharp, and then you think that you're done. So you're missing out.
Yeah. Well, and how great where it can be, it is self-indulgent. It feels good. You get that runner's high, but it's also has health benefits for you. It's awesome.
Exactly. Those come for free. But it's just, but this is exactly the reason why I'm not pushing these health benefits hard, because I feel that we have to explain to people first. It's like when I talk, it's almost like a side gig. This whole health thing,
Mm-hmm.
it comes there when you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you have to know these steps. You have to know the process, and then you get the health benefits. And you don't even have to think about like how many times did I sauna bake this week, because you want to do it. It's like an
Right.
addiction. It's like an addiction. You want to keep doing it because it
Mm-hmm.
feels so good.
Right. Yeah, I could see that where it becomes like a habit, part of your routine, because it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Man, I
exactly.
love it. So, how hot is there like a minimum heat temperature level that we need to get to?
For now, again, we have to make a division. We have to divide those, the heat therapy and the traditional sauna. And I'm talking only about the authentic sauna bathing experience. And for me, the sauna should be somewhere between 165 Fahrenheit to one. Actually, the Euro code in the US states that the electric heater has to be less than 195 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's just like technically, I have to say that it's between 165 and 194 is the heat that it's supposed to be, but it's like somewhere 180, 190 is what I like myself
Okay.
very much, and we don't have similar kind of restrictions for obvious reasons for wood burning sauna heaters, but it's still I don't want to go hotter, so I like it set. So let's say 180 and 185 is where I want to be.
Okay. And you mentioned it, I didn't quite catch it, but you said the 194 is the upper limit for that a thermometer can
And
go to?
for the UL code in the United States, it states that the
Oh,
sauna heaters can't, the sauna can't be, it has to be less than 195 degrees Fahrenheit. It's the undescribed as laboratory code states. So
wow.
that's why legally I'm saying it's 194 is the where I want to be.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I didn't know that. And then one thing I saw too when I was just kind of researching this a little bit, because here in the U.S. they'll say like they'll call something like an infrared sauna, but was it in Germany where they can't call that a sauna?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. They are very strict about it. They're very
Okay.
strict about it. And I don't really have a problem with companies calling infrared rooms. I don't do it myself, but they call them infrared saunas. But again, I just we don't have a lot of resources, but hence the more people want to, like right now you are interviewing, we are talking here, the more I want to talk about it so that people do understand that there's a difference. And
Yeah.
and we are not promoting a product per se. We are promoting the experience,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's very important. Again, coming back to the discussion about compromising, and that's only our field. Somebody might feel that the infrared room that they have, that's the holy grail. That's what you want to have,
Sure.
but it's not for us. It's a
Mm-hmm.
different for us.
Right.
And before I forget, by the way, I'm changing the topic a little here, but it's kind of interesting, the progress as of late. Because have you ever been to Helsinki, say the capital of Finland?
No, I've never been.
Okay, so there's there's I'm not being fair when I say that there are many public saunas nowadays, and they are like high-end places. At least a couple of them are quite high-end, and it's not only in Helsinki but everywhere in Finland. It's like a phenomenon now going on. And back in the day, when during these 22 years that I've been here, back in the day when you went to a public sauna in Finland, you were like certain that you would be among Finnish people.
Hmm.
Now it's totally upside down. So it's just when you go to one of these public saunas, it's filled with tourists. It's like,
Really?
yeah, that's where tourists go. And now that's very there's almost like at least in Finland, and also I've been contacted by a lot of American people who've actually done that. They've been to places like Helsinki, Tampere, Turku, Kuopio, whatever these are cities in Finland, and they come back and they feel like, how come we don't have this here?
Yeah.
So I see that and these are all of those that I've been in or I've been to have been traditional. So I feel that there's like something is cooking here as well, and there are some okay, actually very good saunas even in in Los Angeles and San Francisco and Oregon and places like that. So not so many here in New York if you don't include the ethnic Russian banyas, but I know that there are some more or they are coming sooner than later.
Right. Yeah, no, that's so cool to hear. I would love to have some of those around here because I haven't been to any around here, but I should probably, I'm in Long Beach, which is fairly close to LA, so I should check that out. But me and my girlfriend went on a road trip up to Eureka, which is kind of Northern California area. And it's just this small little town, but there was just this great sauna experience where you would walk in and there was like a pond in the middle and then you would get your individual saunas all around. It was awesome.
Oh wow! Oh,
Yeah,
I'd love to go there. Yeah,
it was so cool.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's
Hmm.
exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah, and it's such a it's such a relaxation. So that's of course that's why you do it. Yeah,
Hmm.
and of course, like you said, you went with your girlfriend. I go sunbathing with my wife, and but she wouldn't join me though when I go sunbathing with my buddies. But
Right. Oh man, no, that's so good. And then so real quick to jump back too, I'm curious, is there because there's like the three steps we mentioned. Is there, if you just do that once, is that okay if you don't have the time, or do you want to do it a certain amount of rotations, I guess?
it, your if you don't have enough time, it's everything is completely okay. There are no
Yeah.
strict rules. There are no strict rules, but the more you do it, the better you will feel.
Yeah.
And for me, and it's just maybe I'm just like stuck in my ways, but like 3 or 4 rounds is just fine. My wife keeps complaining that I come home too late when I go to sauna with my buddies, and I would say that it takes it's from door to door, and like I said, I have that traffic. Let's say that it's 20 minutes, half an hour. So I think it takes me maybe 3 hours, close to 4 hours, the actual sauna bathing part.
Wow.
But I'm not rushing things,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I just get stuck there next to the fire pit and just talk of whatever comes to our minds but yeah, so it's like that research stated, it's for health benefits. 20 minutes per day is basically enough, but once you get used to it, your body will tell you what you want to do. And
Hmm.
my body tells me that if I have a chance, it'll take about 3 hours. So,
Yeah. So if you had one like in your house, would you sort of do it? I mean, would you do it in the morning to kind of get your day started, or would it be more of a nighttime relaxation thing?
it would be a nighttime relaxation thing. Yeah,
Okay.
I've done morning saunas, particularly when I'm traveling in Finland. Finland, their hotels have their saunas there. They are already hot in the morning. But I'm not a huge fan of that because it's gonna take some of the edge off. So you're gonna be a little like lazy. So
Right.
I love to do it in the evening. It makes and that again that like total relaxation that comes from that feeling. It's yeah, and it's exhausting. It is
Yeah.
exhausting. Like, you know, it's a very hot room, and you
Yeah.
sweat profusely.
Yeah, man, it's tiring. When I come out of those things, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
God, what do I want to? Oh, I want to jump into. So we've talked about like kind of the, the traditional sauna. So is there a specific type of heater? Is it steam in there? Or the rocks? Can you kind of give us overview of what all that is?
Oh, that's a good question. I totally forgot to talk about that. Yeah. So, of course, you know, originally, before there were smokestacks, there were so-called smoke saunas,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like smoke sauna is a sauna where before you start sauna bathing, all the smoke comes into the hot room, and there's like a hole in the ceiling that lets the smoke out, and once the rocks are hot enough, you take the embers out, and you close that latch, and then you let it like stay and get ready, so to speak. So just but you have to be very careful, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can get a carbon monoxide poison. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. So
Jeez.
it's like, let's not go there this time. But that's the ultimate original sauna, is a smoke sauna. And of course, after that, they invented smokestacks, smoke pipes. So you don't have that smoke anymore inside your hot room. But of course,
Okay.
wood burning. It was wood burning, and wood burning is still like, I don't know the actual percentage, but I would assume maybe like 5 to 10% of the saunas sold in the US have a wood burning stove, wood burning
Cool.
heater in them, and the rest are electric heaters. And about that authentic experience, of course, playing with wood, lighting the sauna, hearing the wood burn, that's part of the good feeling, part of the
Yeah.
experience. But electric heaters are good. But now, coming to the question that you posed, it there's I understand why, but at some point in the US, somebody decided that you could get electrocuted by throwing water on the rocks. And, uh, and I guess there are very, very bad sauna heaters out there. So it might even be true, I don't know. But all real authentic heaters are built to be thrown water at. So it's just like there has to be a pile of rocks, and that steam, it's a very difficult word, I've learned to understand, but both the process and the aftermath is called löyly. Löyly.
I'll let you pronounce that.
Yeah,
That's on you.
exactly. So you throw löyly on the rocks, and then the steam comes out, and it's very frustrating if you don't have that, because that's part of the whole experience, is that, and you control the humidity inside the sauna room with
Mm-hmm.
that process,
Right.
and
Okay.
and it's an essential part of the good sauna bathing experience. That's that's one compromise that you might make. If you decide not to throw water on the rocks, fine, but you're compromising.
Right. Yeah. Because then, yeah, I see. Because you're not going to be able to get any of that humidity, really.
Yeah, no, and it is kind of, it's a funny, it's kind of difficult to explain, but that humidity hits you sort of, and
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting feeling, and that's also part that you miss if you don't have that. It's kind of funny. I'm listening to myself here explaining about how you throw water on the rocks, and it sounds super silly in a way, but and we haven't even gotten to the part where you, like, you have those twigs, and you smash yourself, with that.
Yeah. Do you do
that
that?
Occasionally I do.
Okay.
It's for me it's not essential. But I've been, like, one part of the best sauna experience that I've had is that sometimes we have guests coming. I'm even, it's not my sauna, so I'm always a guest. But sometimes we have Ukrainian people, ethnic Ukrainian people coming to our sauna, and
Hmm.
they have this process where you go and you lie down, and then they have like convection thing with their oak twigs and whatnot, and that makes you again feel very, very good.
Really?
And that happens, yeah, yeah. But that's not essential. That's not, so it is. I try to not to go super deep into this sauna thing, just so that people don't get scared away. It's because it sounds, again, it sounds quite silly if you are not.
Right. Yeah. You see people beating each other with twigs. Yeah, it's a little weird, but
Yeah.
cool. Well, no, that's good to hear. So, what's the? Because I don't know. In the U.S., you'll always kind of hear like dry saunas versus wet saunas and steam rooms. Is that not really like a dry sauna? Just doesn't have the water pouring on the rocks. Is that it?
That we've spoken about that a lot, and this dry sauna really doesn't exist. It's
Oh, okay.
somebody came up with that, and I don't know where it came from,
Hmm.
but like theoretically, there's no such a thing. But I guess that's what it means, because because of the liability reasons. When these public saunas, they often have those strict big signs that state that absolutely no water on the rocks, and to sort of justify that, maybe why somebody came up with the idea of a dry sauna. But the traditional sauna is not a dry sauna per se.
Okay.
It's coming back to this, so it's fine. It's fine, But when we're talking about authentic traditional sauna, it's never a dry sauna.
Right. Okay. I see. And then what is a? Do you know what a steam room is then?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Steam room is totally, it's totally different. And
Okay.
it's part of the the thermal therapy. And steam, I said when we started this discussion that I actually have a steam shower, which is a steam room made in your shower, and
Right.
it's fine. But the of course the humidity is 100%, and the heat is way lower. 120 is what I'm doing. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, degrees Fahrenheit. But it's also relaxing. It's also enjoyable.
Yeah.
We don't promote that, but I always go to one when I see one. When I
Hmm.
have a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not, the mechanism, like the whole thing is different. Many of the companies who actually, I think most of the bigger companies in sauna business, they make these all. So they make steam generators, as they make wood burning heaters, as they make electric heaters, and so forth and so forth.
Nice. Yeah, because you have on it's saunasociety.org, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
your website. You guys have some manufacturers on there that you guys prefer?
Yeah, we have. So basically, whoever wants to join us are free to join us, and it's not even expensive. And of course, we, people contact us, and they ask, that do you know a good sauna dealer in your area? And of course, we promote the ones that are our members. Well, because
Yeah.
without saying,
Right.
there's a good sauna dealer in your area as well.
Oh, there is.
Our member, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'll have to look into that. Because yeah, I need to. I mean, I'm in an apartment right now. I don't really have anywhere to put one, but I would love to. My my parents have a house in the Palm Springs area, and they have my grandparents' old sauna there, which is it's not it doesn't even really get warm enough. I don't know. It doesn't have a temperature on it. It just has like low, medium, and high. So I don't know how hot it even gets, but it's really not. I feel like I could sit in there for an hour.
Yeah. That temperature is too low there. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like it's and that was exactly what we were afraid of, and we also saw happening is that if people don't really necessarily know yet how the process should go, it's like if you want to stay inside a hot room for 20 minutes, then you have to lower the heat, because I can't necessarily, depending on the occasion, I can't stay inside a 185, 190 degrees Fahrenheit room for 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
don't like it, particularly when I go with that load, that process with throwing water on the rocks. There's no way I'm going to stay in it for so long. So
Yeah.
let's go out because I know that I'm going to come back again soon. One point, of course, I have to make, by the way, which everybody should make every time, is that particularly if you're new to this thing, you have to consult your doctor to see that you are okay with
Good.
sunbathing, because you can have some conditions that you even don't know about. So the point is that you don't, sauna is great, but it doesn't cure. It doesn't cure anything.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you healthier per se, so you don't get sick as easily. But if you're already sick, say with corona, it's not work. It doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's kind of a lot of headline type of health claims that you might see, but it's just to get some clicks, I think.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There are some claims that are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So what about like building your own sauna? Do people do that?
Yeah. Many do. Many do. Yeah, many do. There's actually, I just got an email. I have like a hotline that people can call me or send me emails, and then I answer questions. I don't really give specific building advice because of the liability concerns, but
Mm-hmm.
I try to convey questions to right places. But now there's one thing that we haven't spoken at all yet, is the ventilation.
Okay.
So it's very, if you do your sauna yourself. One thing I like myself, if I talk about my own taste, is if I build a sauna, I wanna have it has to be insulated well, and there has to be a drain, because I play with water inside the hot room. So
Right.
in my sauna there has to be a drain, it has to be insulated, and it has to be ventilated. So it's just like, and it's very easy. I'm not pointing my fingers anywhere, but I've been opening doors to saunas in the United States that smell of sweat.
Oh,
And if that happens, I'm the last person to go in. It's
that
a
doesn't
totally,
sound great.
yeah. So it's supposed to be a clean place. That
Right.
that's the whole idea. It's supposed to smell fresh at all times, and hence you have to keep it clean, and hence in my book, my experience, there are many saunas that are sold or built without a drain, and I can understand the reasoning, but again, that's a compromise. It's a compromise that you're deliberately making, but that ventilation thing, you can't compromise there.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that seems like a concern I would have and stuff too, is even the kind of all the moisture and stuff being not being good to have in your home.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah, but the it is kind of, when you get all the information, and that's where we try to help. But when you get all the information that we can give or anybody else can give, then you can make smart choices of under what the situation you are under, but or at. But again, that when you think about that little red cottage by the lake, that's where it started. At least the Finnish thing started from there. For some other people, it started with those nomad tents, teepees or whatever. But so it's just like that. That's where you should understand the connection, sort of.
Hmm. Yeah.
That, that, that you don't compromise too much. That's my
Right.
point. That's my point, because why we had, like in this area where I live, this is not that I would be one, but this is a very affluent area.
Hmm.
It's just a county. There's a lot of people with a lot of money here, and there was a very active, super good sauna salesperson in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
and not naming any names, but he was not a sauna bather himself, and
Interesting.
when I came along in 1998, I never became, I'm not involved financially with sauna bathing, so I'm a sauna business. So I don't get paid. I get a little pocket money from the North American Sauna Society, but I don't get paid for doing this. But so to make a long story short, a lot of people had bought saunas from this person in this area to their houses. And when I came along, there was a there was a trend that they were converting those saunas to wine cellars
Hmm.
because it's like the sauna makes a very good wine cellar because you have the insulation, you have the wooden panels, you have everything there. You just switch the heater away and put that unit, whatever you need for a wine cellar.
Yeah.
But the reason was that people really, after talking to a lot of people never really got the hang of it, what the sauna was for.
Hmm.
And also having these restrictions, the sauna not being hot enough. Sort of like you go there and you just feeling that, like, what's the point?
Right. Yeah.
What am I doing this? And obviously, if you question yourself, what's the point? Is then you haven't like reached that runner's high level of self-indulgence because you don't when you get to that level, and you're going to get to that level soon. If you get to a real sauna, you will understand it immediately.
Yeah. No, that's good to know. So, like for someone listening who maybe has never really done it or maybe only done it a few times, do you know of any like resources or a database or how to find maybe a good sauna in your area where you could just go try it?
The we are in the process of making a list, and we don't have one right now. And you
Hmm.
have to be. I would have to say that you have to be creative at this point, and you have to do a little research before you start going places. But what we are doing right now is we are making like a list of minimum requirements of what should be in a public or commercial sauna.
Hmm.
And I already mentioned those elements that we're talking about. So you have to have it hot, you have to have somewhere very close by the cold, and somewhere very close by the place to relax.
Yeah.
And with those you get to a good start. But also one thing, and this is work in progress. You asked me what the ideal temperature of the sauna is, and I said it's from 165 to 194. Many places where maybe the sauna is not the main attraction, so to speak, they tend to be quite cold, these hot rooms, like you said yourself. So
Hmm.
and it's of course their choice, but we try to make people to be a little vocal about it. This is like,
Yeah.
I've been to Helsinki and I've been to these places and they are hot and they're great. So why are we here in your place and it's not even hot enough? You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. Well, I mean, it's better to be at the appropriate temperature and you just don't stay in for as long than having it be lower and stay in for 20 minutes, don't you think?
Exactly. That's the whole point. And that if there's one message, after our discussion, this should be it. It's not. You don't clock 20 minutes and adjust the temperature accordingly.
Hmm.
Or you go there, if you're not comfortable, you go inside to the hot room for 2 minutes,
Yeah.
whatever you feel comfortable with. So that's the way it should work.
Cool. No, I love it. Man, well, Eero, this is great. I love it. So much info. Like, seriously, I thought I knew a bit about saunas, but I learned a lot. Honestly, like, I really want to get in with my dad and try to build one ourselves out in the desert there for them, a better one, because I love building stuff, and that would be really fun for them to have, I think.
You should, and there's it's we see, before Corona hit, we saw a great upswing. It's like more and more people are getting in as we
Yeah.
speak, and I'm repeating myself here, but I'm coming back to the topic that I don't want to talk about the health benefits only, because I want to point out that it's not bad for you, for
Hmm.
sure. But I want to talk about the process that gives you the health benefits.
Right.
So that's the main thing, because people do get it. The bunch that I sauna bathe with, uh, there's uh, there's one guy who was born in Brooklyn, but his family is Finnish. Everyone else, they don't have any connection to Finland. So it's
Hmm.
like, and people do convert. So it's nice to see how, again, coming back to the word addictive, it is addictive and it's great fun and it
Yeah.
makes you feel $1 million.
Cool. Man, well, this is great. We'll send people, I'll have a link to the saunasociety.org. So people can check that out and learn all your stuff on there and find dealers and stuff around their area. So that's great that you guys have that. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. 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 No, it's, and it's, there's a, there's a good bunch of people who actually go there as well. So it's well read. It's well read,
Cool.
but beautiful, and people do seek inspiration. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy how sometimes people are very educated with their questions. Sometimes they are less so. But of course, it's all important that you try to try to help people, because there has to be, and we are supported by particularly one company, but we try to remain, or we are, and we will remain a trusted third party. So
Right.
we don't go and say that this is the heater you should buy, and this is don't buy that one. Having said that, though, if that heater does not support, say, the process of throwing water on it, then we say that don't buy that one, because you're not getting the sauna bathing experience by using that.
Right. No, that's perfect. That's exactly what we need. So I'm glad you guys are here doing it for us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Cool. Well, thank you, Eero, again for taking the time and coming on here and sharing all this stuff. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Travis. It sure was fun. We already, oh man, we've spoken here for an hour.
Flew by, huh?
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you. The pleasure was mine. Thank